Hello everyone. Today's video is going to be about how to handle corners when you're doing borders. There's a couple of different ways that you can handle it. I'm just going to kind of start off by saying one of the simplest ways to handle it is to take a simple design and stack it and like basically take your border, which I've done. If you take a look at my previous tutorials, you'll see some border tutorials. You just take a simple border and then just stack that border and connect it. You certainly can just, in that corner, you can put some kind of detached design there if you wanted to, or you could create a design there that is different from your border link and just connect it. You could do that. It depends on your skills, and it depends on your overall design and what you're going for. But today we're just going to show you a simple 3x3 grid that's stacked in a corner and linked together. So that'll be like this one here is a 2x2. You have 2x2. This one is going to be a 3x3, and you'll see that better as I get into the tutorial. I apologize to the person who asked for this like 2 months ago, because I was, between the holidays and being laid up with back pain, just wasn't able to get to it until now. And I'm also today going to show you a slightly different technique than I had in my previous videos. I kind of touched on it when I was doing the round circular border tutorials, but I haven't really gotten into it deeply. This is more, what I'm going to show you is more of a traditional way to do it. As you can see, I was talking about the 2x2 grids, the 2x2, right? Today we're going to do a 3x3. And as you can see, you're going to do a grid, and then you're going to do a diagonal, so you'll have grids within grids. And this, you can go down a rabbit hole with this particular technique. When you get into really intricate designs and stuff, you'll be looking at grids within grids, but that's like down the pike somewhere where, later tutorial. But today I'm going to show you a 3x3, and what will happen is you'll have 3 different threads that are going to intertwine with each other to create our knots. So you can kind of see it here. So we're going to get into this. I'm trying to keep this video short. So I already created my 3x3. So you can see the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, stacked on top of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then next to that is another 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there's 3. It's a square. Okay. I'm not going to draw lines. Hopefully you can see the grid lines a little bit here, because I don't want to have a whole bunch of lines on here, but you'll see how this is going in a minute. So we're going to look at, when I talk about grids within grids, this is our 3x3 grid that we're starting with. Now each one of these squares is a grid itself, right? So we're going to put our blue dots in the middle of each of those squares. And this is going to create our part of our grid. I should have done the black dots first, but we'll get to that next. Doesn't really matter. as long as you know what you're doing, right? It's just kind of important, though, at this point to use two different colors. Whatever color you want, that's fine, but just use two different colors because you're going to want to see the difference. Now, what I should have done first is done all of the dots. In the corners. I didn't do that. So we'll do that now. Doesn't matter as long as it's done. And you're just going into every corner and putting your black dots there. The black dots are the big grids. They kind of symbolize your 3x3 grid, if that makes any sense. And then the blue dots start to divide up those grids. Now, the next step is important. What you're going to need to do is go in between. You're going to create a diagonal grid that goes in between these dots, right in the middle. Do not draw lines through the dots. That's the one key point here. Do not draw lines between the dots. So let's pick a spot. Make sure we're in the middle. And you're drawing diagonal lines. Don't worry about whether they're sloppy or it doesn't really matter. They are going to be erased or incorporated into your design. And you know, it's going to take a little bit of eyeballing. You know, if you're OCD, you can certainly use a ruler to do this, but it's not necessary. Like I said, the rule is do not draw through a line, through a dot. So you're going to go in one direction. Yeah, if I have a hard time visualizing where to start my line, I just find a dot and then find the nearest square intersection. That way I can kind of eyeball it. You know, your eyes can play tricks on you sometimes, so go slow. It's okay to go slow. This is kind of important, so this point here, you really do need to take your time. This is the way that these were traditionally done by artists in the past. We think, or at least this is the way that has been discovered, if you will, by previous people who have looked into this, and this is the way that they think it was done, because it's the easiest way, really, to get really intricate designs. And I've been studying a little bit on this kind of stuff. Where's my line? Here it is. I've been studying up on how to make patterns, step patterns and key patterns, and it's fascinating stuff. It really is, and I'll be doing more videos about that. as we go. I have a huge amount of video ideas in my head. Some I have kind of mapped out and other ones not so much. I am thinking about creating a Patreon page for more complicated videos, or videos that have more complicated designs. And I'm thinking about doing maybe a $5 tier for that. Just a one tier thing for Patreon. And then we can kind of build a community of people who are interested in doing, you know, really getting deep into the art. Let me know in the comments if you think that's something you would like. It's an idea I'm toying with. I already set up a page, but I had no idea what to do with it, so I just sort of left it. And it's just collecting dust. But I'm really thinking that I want to take some of these simple designs that I've been showing on YouTube and expanding them into more complicated pieces of artwork and stuff, and we can talk about the art and whatever, you know. So anyway, let me know in the comments if that's something you think you might be interested in. All right, so here we go. We have our diagonal grid inside of our grid. Okay, so I'm going to show you now how easy this is compared to maybe what I showed you before. The technique I showed you before, where we did the, did that kind of thing with the perpendicular lines, that's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that if that's the way, you know, you want to draw your knotwork. It's good for simple stuff. But when you start getting into really complex designs, you really need to learn how to use a grid. So, all right, we're going to start anywhere. So I'm going to start here. We're going to take this line. You're going to do this very lightly, like I always say with this. We're laying it out. You're going to do this lightly. I have to do it darker because otherwise you may not see it. But you're going to do this part lightly because this will be erased, unless you incorporate it into your design. So you're going to go around. This is your corner. You're going to follow this line until you hit a point where you can't go any further. So this is your border. You can't go out of that border. You have to turn. And you're going to go to the next diagonal line. And you're going to follow that line until you can't go anymore. This is outside your border. You can't go anymore. So you're going to loop it around. And you're going to follow this diagonal line. And you're going to turn because you can't go out. And you're going to follow this diagonal line. Loop it around. And again, I'm being sloppy. Yes, I am. I'm being sloppy. I don't care. And you're going to follow that one. And there's our first link. Remember I said we're going to have 3 threads that link together? There's our first one right there. So we're going to pick another spot. We'll pick this corner here. We'll do our corner. We'll follow this diagonal line till we can't go no more. I'm going to turn, follow the next diagonal line, turn, follow the next diagonal line, turn and loop, follow the next diagonal line, can't go nowhere, so you're going to turn, follow that here, turn, and there's our second line right there. Okay? And now we need to finish it off I'm going to start here. This is our third line. Turn, follow the diagonal all the way down. So you can't go no further. Turn. You can't go no further. Turn. Turn. Follow the diagonal. Can't go any further. Turn. Can't go any further. So it's really this simple. The hardest part of this is laying out your grid. So there's your all three of your lines that are all intersected together. Now we start the process of deciding where our overs and unders will be. So I think here, and this is arbitrary, you just do however you want to. So you're going to draw a line on the one side, okay? And I think this is going to be an under. So I think, I'm making an over. It doesn't matter. You're drawing lines on either side, and we're going to make that an over. Again, this is, you can make this sloppy because you're going to clean it up. All right, so now if this is over, where's my retractable? Somebody asked me in a comment the other day, I use a Pentel click eraser to do the small lines. And I'm a Blick associate, so I'll probably leave a, or affiliate, I'll probably leave a link to that somewhere. All right, so we have our over. We're going to do our under here. You know what, I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to make these thicker just so you can see it a little bit better. I just kind of feel like I want to make it thicker. Hopefully I don't confuse you with that. All right, so this was our midline. This was our midline. All right. Here's one side. Here's the other side. Okay. I said I wanted this to go over. So we'll make sure we erase that so we know what we're doing. All right, and it's going to go, if it went over this line, it's going to go under this line. So you need another line here. All right, now it's going to go under this line. That means it'll go over the next one. Okay. It's going to go under this one because it went over that one. Okay. I'm sorry if you can see the lines. What I think I'm going to do here, just so you can see it, is erase all the extra lines as I go. That way you can actually see what I'm doing. All right. So, over, lost my pencil. Over, under, it turns. The next one is going to be over. Okay? over, under. And yes, you do have to just say this to yourself over and over and over again. You do. It went over, it went under. The next one is going to be over. All right, so we went over, we need to go under. When you're doing this, do not jump around. Pick a spot to start with and stay with it. Don't jump around or you will screw up your overs and unders. You have to pick one spot and just go with that one spot. All right, so we are under, over, under. The next one is going to be over and it's going to turn. So we get to the next line. Okay. You can erase this as you go if it helps you, or like I'm doing now, or you can just leave those lines and erase the middle lines after you get everything. Doesn't really matter. I usually just draw all these lines and then erase afterwards, but so that you can see what's going on, this might be easier for you to see. All right, so now we have gone over, so the next one has to be under. Okay, and now since we went under, we're going to go over. Now, I'm just going to stop here for a second and show you that in previous videos we did these perpendicular lines. We did this and this to get our grid set up. Like we did our perpendicular lines like that in previous videos. This is basically comes out to the same thing. It ends up the same way, in other words. All right, under, over, this is going to be under. We went under, we're going to go over. We went over, we got to go under. We went under, we're going to hit this border line here, and we're going to turn. And the next one is going to be over because we went under, so we have to go over. All right, and we went over, we have to go under. We went under, we have to go over. over, under, over. This is going to be under. Okay. All right, over, under. This line is going to go this way. Since we went under, it's going to go over. Oops, and that wasn't very neat, but that's okay. All right, we went over. This is going to be under. We went under, that means we have to go over. All right, we went over. We're going under here. I think we're at a point where I can start showing you how to double check yourself. Because if you get to this point and you got 2 unders, you know you screwed up. And then you'll have to backtrack and you have to see where you screwed up. So far we're on track, we're good. All right, so we just went under, over, which was already done, and then it's going to go under this one and over the next line. And just keep saying it to yourself. You're going to say it in your sleep after a while. Under, over, under, over. All right, it went over. It's going to go right under, over, under. It'll go over this line. And then if you did everything right, you're right back where you started. It should go under this line, right? Under, over, under. So at this point, you can breathe a sigh of relief and be like, yes, I did it right. I didn't screw it up. All right. So we have now 1 thread that you can follow and back. That's 1 thread. All right, we got all the overs and unders for that. Now we're going to start, I think I'll start here with this corner. And since we already have this line here, we're going to go with this one. Okay, this one went, this is the thread we're following now, new thread. This one went over, so it's going to go under this line. So when you start the second thread, start with one that's already done. Okay? Don't just start here and go, oh, I think I'm going to do that now. Start with what's already done so you don't screw up your design. All right, so we're going under. This line is going to go this way and go over the next line after it turns. Okay, it meets this line here where it's already going under because we did this section here. So that's good. And then it's already going over a line, so we don't have to do that. The next one is under. It goes under this line. Oops, don't do that. Do one at a time. Just worry about this section. Okay, so it's going under. It's going to go over this one and turn. I'm in frame, right? Yeah. I have to check. I'm still not, you know, a pro at doing these videos, so I have to check myself sometimes. And let me know, guys, what you think of the lighting. I have a new setup now. I have I have 2 rings going, and I kind of rearranged my setup a little bit. So let me know what you think of the lighting. I've been trying to use like tips from people's comments and stuff, just trying to adjust things. All right, where were we? Where were we? Okay, we were here, so we were over, under, over, under, over, under, over. All right, and this is going to be under, and then over was already done, and this will be under. The line's going to go under and over the next line. And then it's going to turn, where it will go under the next line. And after it goes under that line, it's going to go over this one. It's going to go under, it's already done. Over is already done. It's going to go under this one. Okay, now it's going to turn and go over this next line. Oopsie. As you can see, it's very important when you're doing this stuff to be really focused on what you're doing. Be focused. Don't let your mind wander when you do this, because that's when mistakes happen. All right, so we went over this line. It's going under this line already. It's going over this line already. The next line we're going to go on over, under. After a bit, your mind is just like, oh my God. You're going to say it in your sleep. Over, under, over, under. Okay. Over, under, and we're going to meet up with this line here that we already drew. All right, let's double check ourselves. I think I want to draw that through a little bit. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we went over, under, over, under. We turned, we went over. Now we're going to go under. Over. Now we're going to go under. and this is going to be over. Under. The next line after it turns, it's going to go over, and then we meet up with under. So we know we did good, because that's where we started. You have 2 unders here. When you get to this point, you've made a mistake. You have to start all the way at the beginning. You would have to start all the way at the beginning, which is right here where we started, and follow the loop around. Okay, that's the second loop. All right, we have one more thread to do, and I'm just going to start up here in the corner. This is the last thread. All right, so this right here was this thread came from under that, so we're just going to go with that. Start with what's already there. All right, it came from under, and it's going to go over. Under, and the line turns, and it's going over. Under, it's going to go over this one. Under, it's going over this one, and then it's going to turn and go under this one, over, and it'll go under the next one after it turns. It'll go over, it's going to go under this one, over, then turns, and it'll go over this one. It's going to go under this one, and then it's going to turn. And it's going to go over this one and under this one. Over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, and it's going to turn and go over the next one, and we are right back where we started. And we are golden, people. We did it right. Okay, and that is it. That is basically, I'm just going to go back now, and I'm going to take a darker pencil and just style it. Right, we'll give it a little bit of style. We'll clean it up a little bit. Make sure our lines are lined up. I'm not going to make an art piece out of this. This is just to show you. So as I'm darkening the lines, you can really see the overs and unders. the setup for these types of things is usually the part that takes the most amount of time, but that also depends on how much detail you want to put into the finished product too. So. Now, when you're done this, you can do anything you want with it. You can give these 3 different threads 3 different colors if you want to. I'm not going to do that here. I did it with the piece I showed you in the beginning. So I'll finish this one and then I'll show you that one again after I shoe my cat, because my cat's sitting on it. All right, there's one thread, and we can do this thread. And I think I might, my next video that I do, I will probably do the same design or same grid, but I'm going to add in some breaks to give it a different kind of a look, make it look a little more complicated. So I don't know if I'll do that today or tomorrow or the next day. I don't know. It depends on how I feel and how much quiet I have around here, because I do have a house full of 5 people. But yeah, the next video we'll have the same grid work, but with some breaks added in to give the threads a little bit of a different design. Hopefully you're able to start seeing the patterns. I apologize if my lines aren't lined up perfectly. Like I said, this is not a work of art here. This is just a demonstration to show you how to do this. All right, there's 2 lines done. And now let's do the third. We'll start up here in the corner like we have been. You can make your lines different. Like you can make these 2 lines the same width and then maybe make this one a thinner width. If you want to kind of add a little something different to it, you can do that. I'm just doing them all the same just for purposes of time, because I don't want this video to go too long. My phone's not able to handle long videos anymore. I need an upgrade. All right. This can be really fun. You can like really get into, it's almost hypnotic. Let me know what you think of this way of doing it. This is the more traditional, they think this is the more traditional way that it was done, you know, 1,000 years ago or so, when 500 to 1,000 years ago, when illuminated manuscripts were being created in places like Ireland and Scotland and England. I'm going to post a blog about that. May not be out when this video comes out, but when I do post a blog, I'll update this video with the link. Alright, so there we go. And then you can just go in, let's see, get a little blendy stump. If you're using pencil, if you're using, you can go in, use colored pencils and make, you know, different designs, give these lines different colors. You can outline this in ink, like black ink or something like that. You can use the pattern and trace it onto, if you're a DIYer, you can trace it onto pieces of your home decor that you have, like mirror frames and picture frames and trays. One of the things I like to do here is go in, I'm not going to draw this whole thing out, but just to give you an idea, I'll do a little bit of it. We like to do some shadows here. It kind of brings out the under-over look of it a little bit better. You don't have to do this, but it's just something I do this. This is just something I do because I like the look of it. I also like drawing in pencil, so I'm not, I don't know, I like the look of pencil. Something about the black and white. And you've seen me do this in other videos too. This is where I can spend all day sitting here doing this. This is the part I really love doing. I love getting in here and blending stuff and adding texture and stuff. I mean, you could be all day with this. This is where you take your main design and you really plow some artistic creativity into it. That's kind of redundant, isn't it? Artistic creativity. Anyway, you know what I mean. I'm not going to be able to stop myself, am I? I just can't stop. Oh, here's one I already did. Tell you what, we'll do one square. How about that? That gives me a limit. And we'll see if I stop there. Sorry if I'm being quiet, I'm just enjoying the process now. This is where it gets really fun, when you don't have to think too much about it, you just go. Just do art, right? Like I said, as I've found that most of the process is laying it out. And once you have it laid out, you can do anything with it. You can get all sorts of creative with it once you know how to lay it out, lay out the grids. So this video, I'm going to end this in a minute, is just to show you how to use a grid to do. This isn't the end-all be-all. I'm sure there are other techniques out there. But this is just to kind of give you an idea of one way to do it. Oh, stop, woman, stop. Okay, that's it. So you get the idea, right? And we can double check ourselves with it, right? We went under and over and under and over and under and over and under and so forth and so on. I'm not going to do that again, but so that's how you use, this was a 3x3 grid, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, stacked on top of another 3x3 grid that has a 3x3 grid next to it. And this is how you take a border. This is an easy way to take a border and then go perpendicular the other way to create a corner. And again, you could always cut this off here. And all you do here, if you did that, was to loop, you would just make corners, like it would just be these corners looking like that. This would go, continue to go, and your corners here would look like this. Again, same thing here. These corners would be here, these fancy corners, and your border would go that way. This would be just an empty square, and you could put, you know, just a design here that's on its own. Or you could create a design that somehow links into some of these threads, overlaps them, whatever. You can go crazy. You can break the rules even and not worry about whether or not this part is over and under. There's so many things you can do, but that's very complicated stuff that we're going to do later. So let me get my cat. Come on, get off, honey. He likes to jump up here and sit on my artwork. And this is what I did previously to sort of prep for this video. I took this and I did 3 different colors to show you the 3 different lines. You could create another border around that. You could put black in the background and leave this white, or put color on it and put black in the background. You could create a black border. You could do all sorts of stuff from this point. Okay, so hopefully you learned a little something with this. I'm going to go over the same technique again in the next video when I add in some breaks. And believe me, I had a lot of fun trying to figure that one out. Trying to figure out something I could show you that's simple enough. But this, for today, we're going to stop here. And hopefully that was something you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments if you have any tips, any other tips. Let me know your thoughts on the lighting that I have here. Hopefully it's a little bit better than before. And don't forget to subscribe, hit like, leave comments. All of that helps me. I'm trying to push for 1,000. I'm almost up to 500 followers. So I'm trying to push for 1,000. So I'm going to be trying to put out more videos now that the holidays are over. I have a whole bunch of ideas. And let me know what you think about Patreon, whether or not that would be something you'd be interested in. What you'd like to see on Patreon if I did that. And that'll help me get my thoughts together on that. Okay, so like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Have a good day.